hardest part about having a traumatic brain injury is you look normal on the outside. Like if you met me in person, you met someone else with a traumatic brain injury, they would just be a normal person, but you don't really see what goes on in their head every single day. When it comes to trauma, we can let it define us or we can let it refine us, right? So it all really depends on how our outlook is on what certain thing that we're going through in a certain point in time.
There is always hope, and you are not alone.
Welcome to Hope Survives, a podcast from the Hope Survives nonprofit supporting individuals and families navigating life with brain injury. I'm your host, Cristabelle Braden. After my own experience with traumatic brain injury, including multiple re-injuries, I've learned how isolating this road can feel and how hard it can be to find a way forward. No one should have to walk it alone. On this show, we explore the realities of life with brain injury through encouragement, thoughtful conversations, expert insights, and real stories. No matter where you are on your journey, remember, you're never alone, and hope survives.
With a little hope, you can make it through today. With a little faith, someday you'll get through the pain. Just a little love is enough to light the way through your darkest night. Hope survives, a little faith, a little love. Hope survives, a little faith, hope survives.
Hey friends, welcome back to Hope Survives podcast. I think on a lot of our journeys with brain injury, we can struggle with finding purpose and identity, and it can just be really overwhelming. So today we are going to have a story from somebody who's gone through just that journey. Today we are talking about turning trauma into purpose with a special guest, Jackson Davis. This is an interview with somebody who has had a brain injury, and he's going to share some of his experience and how he went from surviving a traumatic car accident and had to let go of dreams that he had before the injury to go through a long road of physical, mental, and identity recovery and rebuild his life. He's now the founder of Built to Endure 40, and he has eventually found purpose in the pain and been able to compete in Ironman tournaments, even with not just brain injury, but also a lot of body injuries. And so Jackson is going to share some motivation, encouragement, and hope. And hope is something that is so important for us, especially this is called Hope Survives, right? After my brain injury, I struggled with finding hope, and it's hard, even day to day, and the setbacks and never knowing what your symptoms are going to look like, what your energy is going to look like. And sometimes you feel like you can do something really well, and other days it's like, why can't I do what I could just do yesterday? It's overwhelming. And sometimes it's just getting through each day and getting through each moment and just being in survival mode. And that's okay too. You do not have to have it all figured out or figure out a grand purpose after your injury, right? That's not what this is about. We're here to encourage you, uplift you, and know that just getting through today is okay. One step at a time. And sometimes there are dreams or things that we want to do, and we want to encourage you to step forward into them in whatever that looks like for you. All of our brain injuries are different. All of our journeys are different. All of our passions are different. And so being able to identify what is important to you, ask yourself, what's important to me? What do I care the most about? What are small ways that I can find joy and that I can find purpose in the day to day? And sometimes those questions are the most powerful you can ask, and then stepping forward into them. So whatever that looks like for you, we hope this episode is encouraging. Before we get into our interview, we have a spotlight with Dr. Ryan Harvey from the Functional Neurology Center.
So now we're going to kind of talk about finding a purpose after brain injury and concussion, right? And so this is a really important thing because it's really important to keep your perspective into how do I continue to motivate myself to continue to do the things that are going to put me in the best situation to heal and to heal as fast as I can, right? With these types of injuries. So one thing is to find things that what's my purpose of to keep fighting and to keep having that resilience to be able to make my brain stronger and to add more things into my life, right? So I think where some patients, have gotten away where it's like, oh, I used to love to play this sport and this injury took me out of that sport and I can't do that anymore and I kind of feel lost. Where it's like, are there other ways that you could be a part of that same community, and with maybe it's in a different position or a different purpose than to be on the field playing, right? Could you help mentor kids that are in that same situation? Could you help educate people about the different styles of play or the different styles of using these types of sports, right? The same thing could be said about different tasks, right? Where it's like I love to do community service, and now I feel like I don't have the physical capability to do that, but can I still provide some tools for folks, even if it doesn't mean doing some of the things I used to do before, right? So I think that purpose-driven mentalities are really important, and perspective is very, very important with these types of injuries, right? I think getting away from this concept of I'm so broken and I need to put myself back together, and getting away from that thought and saying, how do I continue to make myself more whole again? Less, we're not focusing on being more broken. We're focusing on becoming more whole. And I think that's a really important concept. And that idea of empowerment and resilience is part of what, life is all about, is building your endurance and your resilience back to let life be therapeutic for you. And I think that is a really core belief of mine. And I think finding your purpose in your community and making a difference in whatever way that looks like for you is really, really valuable. And I think everyone has that ability to do that, no matter how big or how small your role might look.
Thank you, Dr. Harvey, for sharing the importance of purpose in brain injury. We are so grateful to the Functional Neurology Center for their support and sponsorship of our nonprofit. The FNC offers personalized neuro recovery programs for anyone going through brain injury and a wide range of neurological conditions. When you trust your brain to the team at the Functional Neurology Center, they take the time to get to know the whole you so that they can personalize your recovery program for your unique and complex condition. There is hope for a better tomorrow, and the FNC is committed to helping you get back what matters most. Visit thefnc.com for more. And with that, let's head into today's conversation on turning trauma into purpose with Jackson Davis. So glad you're here. So glad you're part of our community, and you're not alone. I'm here with Jackson Davis, and we're going to be talking about turning trauma into purpose and hearing some of your stories. So Jackson, thank you so much for coming on Hope Survives podcast today.
Yes, thank you so much for actually taking the time to meet with me. I'd like to thank all of the listeners for listening, and I hope that my story can help other people out there.
Oh, well, that's why we're doing this, right? That's what we're here for.
I agree, 110%.
Sometimes it just helps to hear someone talk about something and to realize like they get it, right? That we're not alone on what we're going through.
I agree, 110%. And I would like to say that's probably the biggest struggle I've had with the traumatic brain injury. The hardest part about having a traumatic brain injury is you look normal on the outside. Like if you met me in person, you met someone else with a traumatic brain injury, they would just be a normal person, but you don't really see what goes on in their head every single day. And I say it's more of a looked past injury when it really needs to be looked more in depth. That's my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Because you can't see it on the outside and no one really knows what you've gone through. So, speaking of, would you share a little bit of your story? I know it's hard to keep it brief and hard to share in a format like this, but could you tell our listeners a little bit about how you got your injury and what your recovery journey has been like?
Oh my gosh.
I know it's a big question.
The thing is, I don't think I'll ever be fully recovered. It's a lifelong injury. But I'll give you a whole backstory on it. So this happened. It was a car crash that actually happened to me. Me and my father, right after I graduated high school in 2015. and I want to be a Marine just like my dad, because I didn't really know what path I wanted to go down, but I knew for sure I did not want to go to college. So I ended up joining the Marine Corps and doing the delayed entry program. My dad, being a Marine, he wanted to take me, or I kind of pushed him to take me to Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, so I could like visualize like what I was going to do when I walked across and graduated. And going out there, it was probably the best times of my life that I can recall. A little bit of it, but not really. Just spending that good time with your father, really, there's nothing like it. But we, I played, it's kind of off topic, but I played hockey in high school, and we ended up staying. So we drove from Colorado all the way to San Diego, and then on our way home, we stopped at my dad's friend's house in Phoenix, because we were staying there a night, and then we were going to make the trip home the same day, but we were just going to stop and see his buddy. And we ended up staying because the Phoenix Coyotes were playing, and I played hockey like literally a couple months ago. So I was like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. And if we didn't do that, this would have never happened. But everything happens for a reason, you know? So when we were driving back to Colorado the next morning, it took us from Phoenix. So the car crash happened in Pueblo, Colorado, which is about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours from where I lived in Castle Rock, Colorado. And it was horrible. It was, from the best of my recollection, the sun was going down. I think it was 6, maybe 7 o'clock. The sun was going down, and we were just driving on the interstate, going normal speed. And this lady, I was driving, so I wasn't like really like paying attention to like the surroundings and stuff. But my dad said to me, he's like, "Hey, look at this person over here." It's like the girl in the vehicle. We didn't know it was a girl at the time, but this person in the vehicle acting like really sporadic, or really like irritated in a sense, but couldn't understand why like that was actually happening. And the next thing that I recall from the whole incident is my ears were just ringing. I was in a lot of pain, and it was horrible. But what actually ended up happening in the whole car crash is we were driving like this on the highway, so we're like right next to her, and my dad saw her do it. She went like this to like scare us, right? To scare us, but I was paying attention to the road. So it didn't bother me. And my dad says she overcorrected, went this way, and then came back twice as fast and hit us in the rear. So so we went in like the guardrail for like 100 feet. I may be wrong, maybe not 100 feet or something, but right here on my tricep, right here, this is where the guardrail went through my arm.
Wow.
And if did I ever send you those pictures of the car?
I don't think so, but our listeners will only be able to hear some of the audio, or if they're watching the video, so maybe you could describe it for them.
The a good way to describe it. Man, and no one's ever asked me that question before. From the best of my recollection, I think, actually, no, I know for a fact. I think maybe my mind's messing with me now. We went through the guardrail. The car went like this, like sideways on the guardrail, and it fell over like this. And they couldn't actually get me out of the vehicle because the whole dash collapsed in on my legs.
Wow.
So I broke both of my legs. I shattered my pelvis, and I remember they had to do the jaws of life. Do you know what that is? Where they
Uh-huh.
cut like the top of the vehicle to pull you out.
Yeah.
And I remember the firefighters and stuff coming over and them saying to my dad, "Oh, you can get out, like you'll be fine." And my dad was saying, "I'm not gonna leave my only son." So he sorry. He we had a bed sheet or something in the back of her car, and he ended up throwing it over us when they did the jaws of life to be able to cut me out. And then the rest is really history, in that sense of I don't know how I was transported. I know it was flight for life, but I can't recall any of that stuff.
Uh-huh.
I was at the ICU in Penrose, St. Francis in Colorado Springs, I believe for 3 or 4 months. When I was actually at the hospital, they told my parents, well, for one, they first never really realized I didn't have a traumatic brain injury until a couple days like went by, and the sedatives, I wasn't waking up. I wasn't waking up. So they're like, that's kind of weird. And they ended up finding out I had a really rare traumatic brain injury. It's called I'm going to mess it up. It's like fat emboli or something. When they drill out your long bones, I'm showing you, when they drill out your long bones, which is the tibia, both my tibias, they removed the bone marrow, and some got in my blood and then went straight to my brain. So
Wow.
that
From your
caused me,
leg injury.
yes, from my
Wow.
leg injuries, and it went to my brain, and that's what caused me not to wake
Hmm.
up. I was actually supposed to lose my right leg, so it's kind of hard to see it, but this leg right here,
Mm-hmm.
from my knee down, because was having no circulation to
Wow.
my right foot, so I got hammer toes. I would assume most people know what they are. It's when your toes curl up like this in a ball.
Uh-huh.
And it was because the way that the bone came out on my right leg was different than my left leg. It came out a little bit. You can kind of see the scarf. Let's see. Maybe not. This camera's so high.
It's okay.
Like
You can just tell us. Yeah.
it was like, so on my right leg, my bone came out closer to my ankle,
Wow.
and it ended up messing up the tendons and the nerve system, the nervous system down there. So I still cannot feel my right foot. I mean, actually, I'll correct myself. It's very hypersensitive. So, um, that's what happened in the car crash. That was like the whole
And
thing, the best of my
how long ago
go ahead.
was this?
This happened October 18th of 2016.
Okay. So you're coming up on 10 years here this year.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a little surreal,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm being honest. And looking back, there was moments in my journey when I used to question and be, why would you do this to me? God, why would you do this to me? Why me? I had my whole life planned. I was doing everything that I thought that you wanted me to do. But now I realize that God chooses his strongest warriors to fight his hardest battles. And I guess I'm just lucky enough to be one of them.
Thanks for sharing all of that, Jackson. And it's a lot that you went through. So we're talking today about turning trauma into purpose. So I want to hit a couple points here. So there's purpose, there's the emotional side, right? And the spiritual side of that. But there's also the physical recovery. And so you went from being in the ICU, having this injury, to competing in an Ironman tournament, or is it called a tournament? I know very little about it, but I know that it's very impressive and a really intense athletic
thing. And so going to a physical recovery, right? But also there's the emotional and spiritual side. So can we first talk a little bit about maybe the emotional and spiritual side of it and how you find your purpose there? And then after that, we'll talk about some of the physical side of the recovery to Ironman. Does that
Um,
sound good? Or are they too intertwined?
I guess they're kind of really intertwined
Well, just go
in
for
a
it. I would
sense.
love to talk about how you found your purpose again.
Oh man. Well, personally, I think when it comes to trauma, we can let it define us or we can let it refine us, right? So it all really depends on how our outlook is on what certain thing that we're going through in a certain point of time. And the biggest thing for me to be able to get to where I was at today is self-belief, self-love, self-care. That's something I struggle with daily, but it's always always knowing that I'm here for a reason. I mean, everyone's here for a reason. It all going back to it's all how you look at it. You can be negative your whole life if you want to, but you can look at it from the other spectrum and be like, "Oh my gosh, this is such a blessing. This is such a blessing." You know, I didn't lose both my legs. I can still walk, talk, and act like a normal person, where there's other people when I was in the hospital who would never be able to gain those functions ever again in their life. So yeah, what I live with daily might not be what I want, but I'm thankful for what I do have.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. So, how did you find purpose after all your goals that you had before your injury? Now, suddenly you can't do them, right? So, how did you find new dreams and new goals?
That is that is a great question. Um, how did I find new dreams and new goals? I was able to find new dreams and goals the moment I was able to accept what happened to me. And it's been a very long journey for me. And being able to accept what happened to me and just know that it may not have what I wanted, may not be what I wanted for myself, but it's exactly where God has me. Right where I'm at, He has me for a specific reason. And it's being able to understand and use that to build you to the person that you know that you're supposed to be.
So, how do you define purpose?
Oh my gosh. um, well, for me, purpose could be more or less related to how disciplined you are, right? In a sense of, okay, I committed to doing this one thing, so I need to do it no matter what. And eventually, over time, you're going to be able to find your purpose and your goal in life, right? Like for me, it was really competing in, well, first I started with Spartan races, the 5K, the 10K, and I think the other one is the 15K, I believe. Like the Spartan obstacles and running and stuff like that. And it was really just believing in myself. Just because, doctors and everyone said, "Oh, you can't go do this because of your injuries." They're like limiting you. Well, you can't listen to what everyone else is telling you that you can do when you know you're capable of doing more in that sense. And then I really think it comes down to self-belief, because sometimes, I talk to people and stuff and they think I'm crazy when I say I talk to myself every single day about, my goals and speaking it into like life. Like, if you're not writing down your goals to what you want to be in life, then you're literally wasting your life away. At least that's how I've perceived it in all the books and stuff that I've read, all the podcasts I listen to. if you're not very direct with where you want to go and direct with how you're going to get there, then how are you ever going to get there? You're just going to keep dreaming your whole life.
Yeah, that's good. So tell me about how you got to doing the Ironman race.
Honestly, being able to do something that I never would have thought I ever would have been capable of doing, even before my car crash, to now competing in, I got one in a couple weeks in Texas. This will be my fourth one. Um,
Wow.
so that just goes to show you how crazy I am and how committed I am to what I really feel like God has placed on my life is to show people that there is no limitations. There is in a sense, I mean, there is going to be somewhat limitations, but if you can dream it, you can do it, right? Like, so don't let anyone ever put limitations on you. I mean, I used to limit myself and be like, man, I'm never going to be able to ever go do an Ironman. That's like how many people do it, and looked up all like the statistics and stuff. And I was just like, why can't I? Why can't I? It's always asking yourself those questions and then reaffirming it with the positive actions of why you can do what you put your mind to.
I bet you got there though one day at a time, not all at once, right?
I would say it was more or less 1 hour, 1
Yeah.
hour, 1 minute at a time,
Uh-huh.
to be able to be able to do what I do.
Mhm.
And there is multiple days when I wake up that I don't want to do what I'm doing. And I'm just being honest, like doing my YouTube content and all my other stuff, it really takes it out of me. I post 3 times a day, the best of my ability, new content every single day. And some days I ask myself, why am I doing this? But then I really realize I'm doing this
Huh.
for my younger self, because I didn't really have anyone to look for inspiration or someone I could relate to. So I'm doing this so I can help other people who are in tough, tough times in their life, to be able to encourage them. Hey, not saying you have to go out and do an Ironman. I mean, go out and go for a walk, go to the gym, do something good for yourself. Like, that's pretty much what my whole message is just do it in a sense.
So what encouragement would you give to somebody listening on wanting to turn their trauma into purpose? Like how do you get from the traumatic part to living and walking out your purpose?
I would say, personally, you have to believe in yourself and you have to forgive. You have to be able to forgive. That was one of the hardest things for me to do in my journey, was be able to forgive the people that has done harm to me and my family, and just be able to move on.
That's powerful stuff. Yeah. And that's so important. Like that's what the Lord calls us to do, right? To forgive as we've been forgiven. It's not easy
Yes.
though.
No, it's like love thy neighbor as yourself,
Mhm.
right? I
Mhm.
mean, we're all human. We're all gonna make mistakes. I mean, I'm not perfect. Nobody is. So why are you trying to judge someone where you don't even know where they came from? And that's something I do every single day. Even when I get frustrated with people, I'm like, listen, we're all human. We live on the devil's playground. This is what we're at, and just take it for what it is.
Mhm. And not allow your brain injury to define you. And I think you've done an amazing job of it being an example of that.
Well, I really do appreciate that. I mean, like, I tell myself every single day, if my message reaches one person that needed to hear it, I'm done. My goal has been completed. I'm just being honest. I really feel like I was put on this earth to spread inspiration and hope to everybody. I mean, when time gets tough, you have to really figure out who you really are, you know? I mean, we're all going to go through trials, tribulations, have hard times, but what type of person are you when those trials and stuff hit? Are you going to crawl in the corner or are you going to stand up?
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Jackson. I'd love to keep talking, but we're running towards the end of our time here. But I so appreciate everything you shared. So, the last question we always ask our podcast guests is, what are your final words of hope for our listeners?
The final words I would like to say, more or less, all of our battles that we have in our life are all mental. Never let you tell yourself no to a dream that you want. You're your best friend. You have one life. One life. Why not go live it to the best of your ability?
I always say that people with brain injury can do anything you want to put your mind to. You just might have to do it a little differently.
Yep, I agree. 110%.
That we can adapt things and do things differently, or maybe it takes us longer. But
Hey, but we'll still get there.
it
We'll
doesn't
still
mean that
get
it can
there.
never happen. It just might take a lot longer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Jackson. This has been so great getting to know you here and sharing your story and encouragement with our listeners. And if anyone's listening and they have any thoughts or questions for Jackson, all of his information will be, of course, in the podcast description on our website. You can also email us hi@hopesurvives.org if you have any further questions or thoughts related to this episode, and we'll be happy to read them, connect, and share those along. So thank you all for being here, for listening to Hope Survives podcast. And Jackson, thank you so much for being our guest today.
Yeah, thank you.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, we would love if you would consider leaving us a rating or a review. We are so grateful to be able to provide this support for the brain injury community. And if you would like to get connected, please visit hopesurvives.org.